I was trying to do research for the vlog, for the live chat, and I was Googling that, I don't know, is it a rhyme or a limerick? There was an old woman who swallowed a fly. You remember it?
Yeah.
Because there was a line in it I was interested in using as a joke. And I'm scrolling through Google, and it's actually quite difficult trying to find that particular rhyme. And then there was a listing on Google, and it said there was an old woman who swallowed a horse. And I thought, well, that's close enough. I'll click on that. I can't believe it's like sunny every week on the croft. It's amazing at the moment. If you missed last week's vlog, wow. Wow, what a vlog. Well, we won't be here. This wasn't the plan.
No.
But if you missed it anyway, there should be a link up somewhere on the screen or down in the video description. It was all about our either genius or balmy idea to buy a holiday pod and put it on the croft, or there was a bit of a curveball at the end because I said, well, why don't we buy a boat instead, and we could let that out.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, talk about letting out.
I know.
Blimey, the comments that we got. And we did ask for your opinions, and blimey, did we get them. Honestly, it was like being slapped round the face.
It really was.
In a good way for some, but not in a good way for others.
Yeah.
Now, it was one of these vlogs that didn't get a lot of views, which whenever we do talkie vlogs, they never get a lot of views.
No, they don't.
But it did get a lot of comments, way over the average that we normally get. And most of them were quite positive and constructive and helpful and supportive. And some of them, to be honest, were just absolutely bizarre. We weren't planning to do a follow-up vlog on it.
No, we weren't.
But we started writing some of these comments down, and some of them that kept coming up again and again, and thought, well, we ought to answer these, really. Today, we're gonna, I think, hit it three ways.
Have you calmed down, though?
I have calmed down a little bit. First thing we're going to do is we're going to answer some of the sensible questions. The second thing we're going to do is there was a couple. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to correct some assumptions that were made by viewers that other people jumped on to put that right. And I can't remember what the third thing is, but I'm sure we'll remember as it goes on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's it. It's to actually let you know what we've decided to do. A lot of the comments we got were like 2 or 3 word answers, which were, don't do it. This is dangerous. Keep away from... And it's like, no context. If you're going to comment and give an opinion based on why.
Yeah, make it constructive.
Don't just say, don't do it. Why shouldn't we do it? Because what do we get from that?
We just get nothing.
Idiot!
You rile him up.
Yeah. By far the most popular opinion and comment and suggestion that we got in the comments was, rather than investing in a high-end luxury peaceful pod for a nice relaxing holiday hidden away in the Scottish Highlands, what we should do instead is go way cheaper and put some hard standing down to allow camper vans and RVs to park up, and basically set up a tent, a camping site.
You mad people.
Right, yeah, I get where you're coming from on that one. But it's not...
I don't.
It's not... No, I understand why they're saying what they're saying. I don't agree with it. The whole point of this project for us is to create something lovely. Now, we've got a piece of land on the croft, which we could get a lovely wooden built pod that really blends into the hillside, into the greenery and the trees and the gorse, and you'd barely be able to see it. A private, well-landscaped, like an escape, tranquility.
Exactly, yes.
And nice views.
Yes.
And to be fair, you can see a camper van from space, especially when the sun's shining on it.
My Lord, yeah.
I mean, remember from when we lived on a narrowboat, I hate engine noise, I hate generators. And if we have a pod, the water and the electricity, well, it'll be solar, a lot of it, but the electricity and the water and the wastewater is all piped in underground from within the pod. There's nothing external to it. Whereas to allow RVs and campers, you have to have outside water taps, you have to have outside bins, you have to have places where they can empty sewage, like what did they used to call them, where you put the cassettes?
Yeah.
You'd get the engine
remember.
noise, you'd get the fumes, you get the noise from the RVs driving in and out. And
Elsan.
Elsan. And some people were saying, oh, well, you're going to get that with cars. Well, a car's a lot different from an RV. Yeah. And yeah, we might get RVs coming and people using the pod, but they're coming and parking up and that's it. And the parking space is hidden away. With the RV, it's not. It's kind of on the space. So there's a lot of reasons. I mean, I'm not even going to go into the planning and the regulation and the licensing, which is all completely different. Even if we could do it, we wouldn't.
Not a chance.
Because it's not it's not the idea that we have. The idea that we have is somewhere that looks beautiful, that blends into the countryside, not a car park for camper vans. Yeah. To some people, there's not a lot of difference, but to us,
a big difference.
There is. And as much as we respect that you might want to do that and you think that's a good idea, we don't. That's not what we want. And so we're not even going to consider that. One of the other comments that we got quite a few times was, by watching your video, it seems to me that you're talking yourself out of this by going through all the negatives.
No, we were just talking about the pros and cons.
Yeah, I mean, by listing the negatives, it isn't talking ourselves out of it. I think you've got to be realistic.
Yes, you have.
About any potential challenges that you might face. And there are challenges which a lot of you picked up on, things like privacy, mostly about privacy, which we'll come on to in a little bit, as well as some good things. But I think if you want to really know what you're facing, it's a really good idea to go through as many of the negatives as you can and think about how you might handle them.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's something that we could decide last week when we were talking about it. I think it's something that you have to talk about and then go away and think and actually think, well, could we do this? Is there a way around this? Could we make this easier? And so I don't see that as a negative, and I don't see that we were talking ourselves out of it. I think we were literally being realistic about the expectations so that when we do make a decision, it's based on the fact that we're really aware of what to expect. Right, so this next one was one of the most popular. Your privacy will be ruined. Your location will be made public.
It's not a secret anyway, that.
Hordes of people just wandering on your land, in your house, banging on your door. I think that's a bit of an overreaction, to be honest. Just a little bit of an overreaction. We already get a lot of people coming up to the house.
Yeah.
Not as many as we did when we had the boat, but we still get people coming to the house. We get people literally yesterday and the weekend, people coming up to the end of the drive and taking selfies, and sometimes they come up the drive and knock on the door, and we're always polite and say hello. So it does happen. And I think by inviting guests to stay in a pod, we wouldn't be using like Airbnb and any third-party booking sites. It would be direct bookings with us. So it's not like our address is going to be publicly out there. Yes, guests that are invited to stay will have it, but they're not the sort of people who are going to be putting it in the local newspaper, this is where foxes afloat live. Are they? They're not, are they?
I would.
And I think you've got to be a little bit more realistic about this. Some people think we're more famous than we are.
Oh, God, we're not.
People don't care.
No, they don't care.
Honestly, they don't care. And so we're not scared that people will find out where we live because people already know where we live. We got a message in the comments on YouTube from somebody saying,
oh, it was bizarre.
I worked out where you lived. And I just answered by saying, well, we don't care if you know where we live, but it's actually a bit creepy that you feel the need to say that you know where we live. That just sounds menacing.
It does, yeah.
Some people have got a very negative view of guests and that they'll smash everything and have parties, and it's a bit weird because it makes me feel like some people have had bad experiences.
Yeah.
Which is right, because we did get some comments from people who said, oh, I've run a bed and breakfast, or I've done this, and you've got to prepare for it. And that's one of the things I think we talked about, isn't it?
Yes.
But yeah, we prepared for it. But not everybody is like that, are they? Well, you are.
What?
You go in and smash windows and steal the telly and the iron and everything. We've got 13 irons in the house from different hotels.
Don't believe him.
Oh, have you put them on eBay now?
Yes.
You won't be able to cope with all the work given your health conditions.
What health conditions? Oh, the only thing that's wrong with me, I'm old.
We have got no health conditions. I mean, Sean's got arthritis in his knee.
It's just age.
I've got a bit of an achy back sometimes if I overdo it.
Yeah.
But haven't most 50-odd-year-olds and 60-year-olds? If you're talking about my mental health,
Where do you start?
I've managed big businesses.
Yes,
I've managed
that's
my
true.
own businesses. I've run a gym. I've run radio stations and managed people. I've lived on Silver Fox for 2 years and managed that, and I'm still here. I'm honestly fine. If I didn't think I could do this, we wouldn't be even thinking about it.
That's right.
You'll need to get more than one if you want to make any money.
We ain't got room for more than one.
We could squeeze 2 on there. But it's not about the money, is it?
No, it's not actually, no.
The thought in our head, which we might not have explained properly, and I think because we were talking about it from a place that had 2 pods,
Yes.
we have got space for 2 pods. We only want 1 pod. The reason we only want 1 is we can make that space really private, really luxurious. It's quiet, it's out of the way, it's not overlooked, and it would be completely, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of isolated.
Yes.
For guests, so they'd feel
Like they were on their own.
like they were on their own. They'd have that privacy. It's not really about making money for us. It's about kind of quality over quantity.
Yes.
So we'd rather offer a single, really luxurious, exclusive space than share that and have to lower the price, and then the guests' expectations are going to be lower because they're right next door to somebody else.
Yeah.
And if I was going somewhere, I'd prefer to have the space completely on my own.
Because of the privacy. You want privacy when you're on
Because of
holiday.
the privacy, you don't have to worry about noise and the neighbours and kids and dogs or anything like that.
Just you strolling up and down naked.
Why do you always have to add naked onto anything?
Because that's what happens.
You have to have a minimum 2 or 3 night stay because it cuts back on the workload.
It does if you've got more than 1 pod.
I suppose it does, and the problem is on the NC 500 you get a lot of people kind
Passing
of
through.
just stopping overnight. So we could get more trade if we allowed 1-nighters, single-nighters. And I know a lot of people were saying, oh, but that means you're doing the changeovers and everything every single day. That's fine, because we're not planning on booking it out every day of the year. We're planning on booking it out maybe 90, 100 nights. And we have got the time to do the turnarounds and the washing and the ironing and everything.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's not a problem. Again, it's coming down to quality over quantity. We're not wanting to squeeze bookings in every single night of the year. Once or twice a
right.
week is good for us. And we only have to fill it probably 90 or 100 nights a year for a couple of years for it to pay for itself.
Yeah.
It was the same sort of people that already do this that suggested that we must use an agent or Airbnb. Mm-hmm. And again, on the scale that we're doing it, we're not actually going to do that for a few reasons.
Cost as well.
We're going to take direct bookings only, and it'll be through our website, through our booking system. It gives us more ability to screen guests because it would only be adult couples. There'd be no children, no pets, unfortunately, because we won't have the facilities. And I know that limits the market, but that's the market we're aiming for.
Yeah.
And another one that I'll come on to. It also enables us to let the guests know our expectations, that it is a very quiet, secluded, private place. And so they can't be having noise and parties and being rowdy. The other good thing about taking direct bookings is it cuts out completely the ability for trolls to leave fake reviews.
It does.
You can only leave reviews if you're a verified customer. Amazon do a similar sort of thing.
Yeah, they do actually, yes.
And so that takes away the stress of troll reviews. They can leave them on other sites, but it will soon become apparent that the other sites have got nothing to do with our booking system. So people can take that with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
Which takes us on to one of the other points.
Oh, you got a bit vicious then.
which is you won't be able to deal with the bad reviews and the trolls.
Oh, God, we've been dealing with that for the last 7 years, is it? 6 years?
Since we started YouTube.
Yes. Oh.
If you think that a bad review of our pod on a website once or twice a week is going to bother us, then you obviously don't know the sort of reviews and comments that we get on social media.
That's true, yeah.
We're not just talking about YouTube and Facebook where we can delete troll comments if we want to. There are forums out there.
Oh, we've been slated.
One in particular, a canal forum. I mean, we haven't been on a canal for 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
4 years, and they still have threads about foxes afloat.
They still talk about us.
But this takes me back to that point.
Yeah.
You won't be able to deal with the bad reviews. We get bad reviews on social media, on forums.
All the time.
All over the internet. There's so much hate. And we're still here, and we're still doing it. We're still making crap videos 7 years after we first started.
And we're still laughing at them.
And we still laugh at them. So, of course, yeah, troll reviews and troll comments are negative and bad and not good for your mental health and all this, that and the other. But we've been dealing with it for 7 years.
We're used to it.
By doing our own bookings online for the pod, that's going to really cut back on the amount of fake reviews. Anybody else that wants to leave them elsewhere online, do it. We're
Please do
used
it.
to it by now. It's all good publicity.
Yeah.
One of the things that actually surprised me was how people caught onto that naturist thing.
Oh, yes, they did, didn't they?
Because we talked about it and
Yeah.
Sean was like very on the fence. That's why we stood in front of a fence. But people were latching onto it and actually quite liked the idea.
Yeah.
And there was dozens of comments from people who loved the idea of it being a naturist environment.
Because it would be quite private as well.
It would be very private.
Yeah.
It would be completely concealed from any kind of anybody that can see.
Any gawping eyes.
So people would be able to be in and outside the pod as they would be.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be a problem. Not overlooked by our house at all. It would be brilliant. The only thing we need to think about is some people think that naturism means knocking shop, which, again, we just have to screen and make that very clear
that it's not a knocking shop.
before any guests come. But because it's only couples, I don't think there's going to be a problem with that.
I don't think it is.
If couples want to turn it into a knocking shop for a weekend, that's absolutely fine with us.
If in their own private pod, that's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, it would be a very niche market that we could tap into.
Yes.
And I think it would be a good addition. And I know quite a few people who are naturists. I know quite a few people who I would like to be naturists that we could invite. What?
I thought you said you weren't turning it into a knocking shop.
I didn't say you were a knocking shop. Lewis, if you and your dear best friend want to come, not his wife, just his best mate. You can bring your best mate. Quite a few people said it would be easier on us if we hire a cleaner to take care of the turnaround and everything.
I'm not giving my profits away.
Yorkshireman living in Scotland now. Yeah. This would be kind of our main income.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say a full-time job, although it would be full-time, but we're not afraid of hard work. Anybody that knows us knows that we're not afraid of hard work.
Absolutely.
And I can sometimes work 60, 70 hours a week if I want to, if I'm not dragged away from the office.
I have to drag him out of there.
But we're not afraid of hard work. We know how much work is involved because you know how much research I do into these harebrained schemes. And because we would be doing it for the money, we wouldn't be hiring anybody because that's then taking away from our profit. So, yeah, we would be doing all of the work. It's only one pod. It's only probably 2, 3, 4 nights a week, so it's not going to be unmanageable by any means.
It wouldn't take you long to sort it out, would it?
It wouldn't take me long to sort it out, no, because I'll be in Roga. The other thing about doing it ourselves is that we can make sure and we can be absolutely certain that everything in that pod is cleaned and prepared and presented to our standard.
Yeah.
Which, if you're employing somebody in to do that, you're not always sure about that, are you?
That's correct, yes.
And we've got a very close eye for detail, haven't we?
Well, you have.
I have. I'll be out there with my nail scissors, like I said, cutting the blades of grass to the right height. And we saved one of the best ones for last.
Oh, here we go.
Boat is better than a pod.
Oh, my God.
To be fair, we were expecting this one. A boat is better than a pod. Why? Was my reply to most of them.
Yes.
Because there was no reason given, just boat is better than a pod. Most people just want to see us back on a canal boat, which is not going to happen anytime soon, this month anyway. But we have ruled the boat out since last week. I mean, last week was recorded 2 weeks ago. So we have ruled the boat out for a few reasons. One, the actual outlay for a pod and the landscaping and the setup and the licensing and everything that's involved would be literally about the same as buying the type of boat that we can afford and refurbing that and getting all the licensing sorted. So the initial outlay for both of them is about the same. But the annual costs for the boat are 7 times higher.
Would be a money pit.
Than the pod. The reason for that is you've got things like mooring and berthing in Inverness, which is about £300 a month. You've got the licensing, you've got special licensing for letting boats, you've got the additional maintenance and servicing.
You've got the crashing.
You've got a higher damage kind of amount that you've got to put away for that, and it's higher insurance. And the other big thing that takes the money from a boat is the distance it is for us to travel down there. It's about 90 minutes away, which we'd have to do 2, 3, 4 times a week.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. And we're not doing that.
The petrol would definitely soon add up. If we have breakdowns or servicing issues, we've got to rely on third-party mechanics and service engineers to get out and rescue people. And it was just not profitable. In fact, it would cost us to run a boat. We wouldn't make any money on it at all.
No, we wouldn't.
So that idea has gone.
It's gone out the window.
Kind of. And a few people were saying that, oh, well, you'll get enjoyment from it as well.
Yes, we would.
But from what it would cost to run our own boat, we could hire the most luxurious holiday boat on the Caledonian Canal for 12 weeks a year, and it would still cost less than it would to run our own boat. And we wouldn't be going out on it 6 times a year. We might only be going out 2 or 3 times a year. I've got my book out.
He's got his book.
You remember my book? I've got my book out. I've got my book because I want to make sure I get these right. So just a note on some of the comments. You know, we were talking about them at the beginning.
You're shaking.
I'm shaking already.
You keep moving out of shot.
So the vast majority were very supportive and positive. And I did mention that some of them were a little bit... I'm going to read a couple.
Oh, what? Right.
You haven't got the time or inclination and you wouldn't like the intrusion into your privacy.
We haven't got the inclination?
We haven't got the time or the inclination.
Why would we mention it if we haven't got the inclination?
Well, I asked the person why, and all I got was, I'm never commenting on your channel again.
Oh, well.
Motorhomes and RVs only. Prioritise American guests as they spend more money.
Wow.
All your viewers want you to get a boat. It's the only reason people follow you.
Oh, fine. I'm still not getting one.
Bye! The reason you're watching this is because you want to know our decision, and we purposely left it to the end so that you skip right through it. Or hopefully watched all the adverts as well. So what is our decision? We have made a decision, and the decision is that we don't know.
We're still working on it.
So, right, what we can do is we can definitely rule out a lot of the assumptions like, oh, you won't deal with the privacy, and we will not be having RVs, and it will not be a campsite.
And it won't be a boat.
And it won't be a boat yet. But it won't be anything yet. And not because of anything anybody said, not because of any pros and cons. The reason we want to wait is we want a boat as well. But we don't want a boat to let out. We want a boat for us. Not a narrowboat before you all get excited. We just want like a little rib boat or a little cruiser that we can use either just out on the sea or up on the Caledonian Canal. And we can't afford both. And we know that if we were going to invest, it'd be better to invest in a pod. So what we might do is invest in a pod next year and then use the earnings from that to pay for a boat for us. We might not. Because
you'll be working the streets forever.
Because we're not 100%, we're going to give it a little bit more time.
Yes, we are.
And because the naturist idea kind of sprang up as well, there might be other ideas that spring up. And so because we're going to do this right, how long did that take him? So we're going to wait, because if we start work now, it's not going to be ready until winter, and we're not going to be able to let it till next summer anyway.
That's right, yeah.
So we're going to give it a few months. We're going to sit on it and see what we think about it, and start looking at boats and see the best way that we can do it. But don't worry about privacy. Don't worry about time. No. All of that is all right.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Do you think that's answered the question now? I bet they've switched off by now.
Oh, they've gone.
If you're wondering why we're a bit tanned, you'll have to watch next week's video.
Yes, you will.
Because we filmed next week's video before this video.
We actually did.
If you are one of our Patreons or YouTube members...
You had a clue.
You might already have had a clue as to next week's video already. Can I give them a 2-word clue?
Go on then.
Foxes afloat. You'll have to wait till next week for that one. It is a very, very good one, though. I'm very pleased with it. I've not edited it yet, but I've seen the footage.
Yes.
And I'm very pleased with it. So join us for that next week, and for the live on Wednesday evening, if there is one.
If there is.
Until then, if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up, hit the notification bell. If you're not already on Patreon, you can join us on Patreon. There's a link down in the video description. There might be one up in the corner.
Yeah.
Or become a YouTube member. Patreon's better.
Patreon's a lot better.
And there's loads of exclusive content on there. It's nearly every day now we're putting something new on there, isn't it?
Yes,
New
every day nearly.
members-only videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think the one of you getting your colonics going on anytime soon, isn't it? It's called Inside Sean, isn't it?
Nobody wants that.
What's that brown bit, Mama?
Oh.
Until next time, we'll see you later. Take care of yourself. Bye.
Ta-ra.